So, you're thinking of launching it, coming to the gin world. If we just go back one, as we say, to contract or not to contract, it's not the question, but it is one of the questions to be looked at when you're considering about this whole thing. Are you going to start with the idea that you want to be a distillery which is going to make its own gins and probably whiskies and vodkas, etc. In which case, if you're going to do that, contract distilling isn't where you start. You've got yourself a nice big challenge. Go for it and good luck. So it's establishing basically the ethos of the company, the business that you're going to set up. You've got to, as Kathy said, covered a lot of this, you've got to find your financing, you've got to get your HMRC approvals and licenses and talk to somebody about a WAGRA and all the other sort of exciting things. A lot of that you're going to have to do anyway. Do you want to add to that the whole basis of having to construct and build a distillery? Have you got the team that is going to be there to do it? It's a lovely romantic dream, and Kathy can say it's a lovely romantic dream to actually distill your own spirit, but it does require an awful lot more than if you say, right, I'm going to get the business going and let's go and talk to contract distiller. Yeah. Production is a challenge, and you need the commitment in the team. What can a contract distiller offer you? Basically, you've got a third party who know and understand what the business, what making a gin is about, and they can help with their knowledge. You can come to them with a brief, and that's what we ask for. So as a contract distiller, we say to somebody, come to us with a brief, we'll discuss the brief, and it's our job to then make the gin to meet your brief. It has bespoke botanicals, the recipe will be purely for you, nobody else gets at it. You're working with people, so when you come to a contract distiller, they can say, yeah, you've got an idea, well, yeah, okay, understand the challenges you might be giving us if you want to go down that particular route. Timescale, again, Kathy's covered this, significantly shorter. You can probably get a contract from nothing to having a gin produced, certainly within a period of months. If you're going to set up a distillery, years. And let's not forget to get the cost. The cost, if you're getting somebody, come to a contractor, they will no doubt charge you for doing it, but it is an awful lot less than actually setting up a distillery. So here we go. Let's deal with the elephant in the room. Now watch that basket of tomatoes there, because if the elephant gets at that, yeah, the mess is absolutely indescribable. Understand, you're talking to a contract distiller, but it is your gin. It'll be made your way, it'll be made with your botanical mix, and be completely bespoke to you and you alone. Any interaction with a third party does need to be thought through. What you can't do is just turn up at the contract distiller and say, oh, I've got an idea of a gin, and trust me, it does happen. Charles, I want you to make the best gin in the world. Oh, great. So I've been here working my life off for this, and now you are getting, no. It just don't work. It's like everything else. There does need to be work from that side, but it is done like that. And certainly, if what you're being promised looks too good to be true, it's the old thing, caveat emptor, it almost certainly is. The intellectual property, that's the thing that obviously, and I can understand people saying, well, we make it for you, if you make it for us, well, you know all the secrets. Yeah, but there are certain things that really, as a contract distiller, it's absolutely vital to our business that we maintain confidentiality, i.e. what we discuss with you, what we do for you is between you and us. It is then up to you to decide how much you want to publicise. And I'll come back to this again. Kathy's hit this sort of thing. Don't make claims that aren't going to be proved. It is actually quite a small world. The spirit world is a small industry, and eventually the lies get home before you. I mean, I did have the glorious one day of somebody who came to us, and they produced everything, and he went out, and I saw his first bit of publicity, and he started talking about the wonderful copper stills at Thames Distillers. Anybody who knows Thames Distillers knows we have not got a copper still in sight. They have wonderful stainless steel stills, and we're very proud of them. They're called Tom Thumb and Thumbelina, but there is no copper in the place. Work with the contractor up front. Tell them what your plan is. I mean, I can take another example. Elephant Gin. A lot of you probably know that. Now, when Robin came to see us, he was absolutely open from the start. He said, I want you to build and develop the recipe, but we are going to have it distilled in Germany. That proved another interesting challenge, because when he took it out to Germany, he went to a lovely distiller who produces lots of eau de vie. And I then got this call, that doesn't seem to be working, Charles, what's going on? So I asked him to go through. So I said, so you're individually distilling each botanical, are you? Yes. I said, no. That's not what we've developed for you. You cannot put all those botanicals in a still. You can. Trust me, I've done it. And there are, of course, the legal tools, but hopefully you never have to get to them, because, of course, as my company solicitor has always said, he said, once you've got to the courts, that's when all the trouble starts, because there's nothing certain. But you do have NDA agreements, you can do those sort of bits. The key decision points, physical provenance, and here it is. If you want to make Brighton gin, and you're going to call it Brighton gin, then it's got to be made in Brighton. There's no point coming to see a contract distiller in London or Birmingham or wherever else it'll be, because that's just not going to work. So if that's the case, then wonderful, good luck to you. Start down the long road, and all the best to you. Does your business involve being in the sort of hospitality, being in a distillery tour, in which case, again, you can't really come to a contract distiller. If you're going to a contract distiller, be like, some of them will either not mention the contract distiller, or some are very open about it. I mean, Ford's gin, if you buy a bottle of Ford's gin, my name's on the label, so it's a bit obvious that we might have, and Thames Distillers' name's on the label. Funding and timing, they are absolutely critical at this point. If you are going to go into production, you're going to need a much bigger funding budget as part of your total business, whatever the size of the budget is. Whereas if you're a contract distiller, your initial precious funds can be then purely given over to developing the brand and getting into the marketing. Timelines, another important part. What are you looking to do? Distilling, rectification? Because again, that's the other thing, because a lot of people get confused about whether it's rectification or distilling. Thames Distillers doesn't distill, we rectify. Because that's actually what most gin distillers do, because they're bringing in the neutral spirit, they're then putting it back into a still and rectifying it to turn it into gin. And again, if you're going to go into production yourself, you come back to this, have you got the expertise? Have you sort of thought about all the bits that begins? In summation, as Kath said, there is no right or wrong answer. It's what's going to actually work for you. It depends on your team, your brand, the brand marketing story. Contracting offers a way to reduce the startup costs and ease the management pressure. This allows the teams to focus its resources on the other parts of the business. And as I say, do not claim what you are not. It's not a one-way street either. It doesn't have to be, we're going to go. You can start off small, and maybe you say as it gets bigger, okay, rather than us invest in another bigger still, we can get some or all of the work done by a contractor. Or equally, you can actually start, you can actually say, well, what we want is we'll do a small bit of the work, but we'll leave the bulk to the contractor. So, finally, a few examples of contracting where it goes on outside. So, just to show that you can have a very much premium brand which actually doesn't necessarily make all the bits that go into it. Take watches, probably the most, they're all famous names up there, but Rolex, for instance. Did you know Rolex, when they started, they didn't make the movements that went into their watches. Actually made by a small, very specialist company called Zenith. Cars, I love cars. Yeah, all those cars, the Aston Martin, Pagani, Lotus, none of them make their engines. Even more so, there's a small company called Rolls-Royce, very smart. Apparently their cars are quite expensive. Yeah, but the engines inside them come from the Bavarian Motorwerken in Germany. They're not made in England, and yet doesn't impact or hold back on the aspirational quality of the actual finished product. And that's the same with contract distilling. Thank you very much.